Battlefield 2042's next update is bringing a surprising new feature that may be essential for this game to have a future beyond its year one content. Since 2042's launch, players have pointed out the many areas in which 2042 has been lacking or not lived up to its potential. Portal being one of the biggest offenders, DICE marketed the power and flexibility of the Portal game mode creator, yet servers had no way of remaining online or building long-term communities. So instead, Portal has been largely used for stat padding and cheesing your way through annoying assignments instead of being the player-driven, crazy mode experience that we were led to believe it would be. However, yesterday, DICE revealed that in their next patch, which is launching tomorrow, the 20th, it'll allow players who own the Premium Battle Pass to create persistent servers. These Portal servers will have the option to remain visible in the server browser for up to 7 days between players joining them. This is incredibly important for community building since region-based servers tend to empty out at off-peak hours and then fill back up during peak hours. Having servers that persist through downtime could be the key to building communities around interesting modes or just creating servers with excellent playlists and disabling things that annoy people like, say, stealth choppers or something like that. Some people have already compared the new system as being superior to prior Battlefield games in the sense that it doesn't cost a fee to host or maintain the servers on the player side. As previous Battlefield games required monthly fees to host and maintain a server, now anyone with the Premium Battle Pass can do it. This has the potential to be huge in theory and shouldn't cost DICE additional server fees if it's done correctly, as empty servers in the Portal server browser don't actually have to be running on a server at all. Of course, there is the it's too little too late argument being made as well. Getting the feature that Portal needed to survive a whole year after launch with a now much smaller player base doesn't really bode well for its future. And the timing of the update happening on the same day that Modern Warfare 2 single player launches for pre-order customers and then the follow-up of Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer launch doesn't exactly sound ideal for keeping Battlefield 2042 players engaged when there's so much competition. All that said, if you're a 2042 fan, the rest of the 2.2 update coming out tomorrow sounds absolutely fantastic. The patch is also bringing an update to the orbital map with a total cover rework and new points of interest, 3 new vault weapons for all-out warfare, and a fix to the laser sight on weapons not looking correct. The 3 vault weapons are the ACWR, the AKS-74U, and the MP412 Rex, which are certainly fan favorite weapons. This is a pretty fantastic patch on its own, and considering it's leading into Season 3 with the long-awaited Specialist and Class rework, things could really start to turn around for this game. In addition to that, DICE devs on Twitter confirmed that the rest of the base game maps are being reworked as well and will still get released at later dates. So Hourglass, Manifest, Discarded, and Breakaway are all getting overhauls. That could mean 2 map reworks per season for Season 3 and Season 4, or possibly some post-Season 4 content, but that's still pretty good news and a nice commitment since DICE earlier was a bit more wishy-washy regarding whether or not all the maps would get reworks. Now, on a more personal note, I'm both hyped and concerned regarding all of this news. Firstly, it's good that DICE is actually implementing pretty much all the main requests that players have made since the game launched, aside from, say, a base game server browser. We're getting map reworks, class reworks, persistent servers, and portal guns put into the base game. That said, not all the content has been great. The latest Liquidators event combined some neat cosmetics with a very subpar game mode that basically amounted to a lazy domination. When compared to playing domination in previous Battlefield games, the flow and layout in 2042 feels lesser in just about every way, which still gives me concerns about the overall map design and abilities from the design team. On top of which, the base game for 2042 still doesn't really have a dedicated infantry-only or TDM style mode, which has always been a staple of previous Battlefield games. In order to get that, you have to go to Portal, which has been an inconsistent experience at best. Now, the recent shift away from the 128 player breakthrough mode to the 64-player breakthrough mode also came with a really unfortunate side effect of not playing the same map progression seen from the 128-player modes. The 128-player versions of breakthrough, in my opinion, offered far better and more engaging gameplay compared to the 64-player versions. I'm actually a bit confused as to why the 128-player breakthrough area progression couldn't have just been used for the 64-player modes, as it seems like the epic base jump from Breakaway, the park area on Kaleidoscope, the mountaintop assault on Orbital, and the more natural areas of Discarded were generally great places to fight, and the quality of the experience seems to have taken a massive step back due to using the backup plan 64-player layout. They're far inferior, and I just am not experiencing some of my favorite moments from 2042 anymore because they only existed on the 128-player versions of Breakthrough. Now, in addition to this, the PC platform still feels lacking in certain basic features. DICE made a lot of progress with reducing mouse input latency, which is a nice quality of life update, but stuff like joystick support is still extremely lacking. The general engine optimization is also just not great. Playing 64-player servers on 2042 both looks worse when compared to, say, Battlefield 5's graphics, and plays at lower frame rates. It would be nice to see if things could be further optimized in this regard, and maybe even do something like, I don't know, upgrade to some DLSS 3 support for people with high-end systems who want to just push the graphics in Battlefield 2042 as far as they can go. Now, the massive class rework that's coming in Season 3 will almost certainly result in massive imbalances and issues. I still support DICE doing this rework, but there can be no denying that it's going to completely turn the game's balance on its head. And that might be good depending on how you feel about the current balance, but I do anticipate a lot of exploits and issues surrounding the rework, so it'll probably take a good few months at least to try and dial things to a place where the gameplay feels good. I still feel that many vehicles in the game offer lots of exploitive gameplay with out-of-bounds tanks or AA platforms, being in positions where they can just stay alive all around on certain game modes, and then things that require zero skill like the high explosive rounds on tanks just being able to splash damage infantry from miles away. There's still just a lot of vehicle mechanics that I think need more overhaul with 2042. And then, of course, on top of all of this, 2042 is potentially getting its best upgrades right as Modern Warfare 2 is going to be hitting its full stride with multiplayer, the new Warzone 2, and DMZ content. It's going to be extremely hard for 2042 to compete with that. Ultimately, though, I am very happy that DICE is doing the work to turn 2042 into what it could or should have been. It means that if somebody comes back to the game at a later date, it'll be a much better product and reflect what the studio can do when given proper leadership and development time. Even if 2042 may never amass the enthusiasm and player base that people were predicting during the reveal trailer, it is at least getting to a point where I think the devs can be proud of the end product. What are your thoughts on all this latest news? Will you be playing the update tomorrow, or will you be playing Call of Duty single player experience? Let me know in the comments, and if you're looking for something entirely different, check out this Warhammer 40k Darktide video I launched last week. Luton, Operator Drewski, and I fight our way through a game that I think is going to be crazy good on launch. Definitely keep your eye on this one. I think you'll enjoy this video, and as always, thanks for watching. This is Level Cap, signing off.